Welcome back to another episode with
Sandro.
and today's episode is about another army one as well. We talked about it before. Why we wanted to do this, and especially me, is like half of my life I've been involved in the army, and I'm exploring my own roots on this channel. That explains the name. So I thought, why not see some more videos with him on it. I saw also a lot of interesting stuff. So one of the things I really wanted to see is the longer version of Marawi, the 153 days. That explains a lot. It's very informative. I have read in the comments as well. So that's one of the things that will come up in the future for sure. However, now we're just gonna do the another Vice. I know there were 3-parters.
Yeah.
We did the first one with you.
Yeah.
We just checked the second one. It was kind of a shorter one and a lot about what happened and what was after they went back with some locals, and we saw the devastation.
Horrible.
And the craziness that occurred over there. I will leave it in the link below. So that's like the kind of the second episode, and now we're gonna react on the third one.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Let's go.
It took
go.
5
Yeah.
months for the Philippine army to drive ISIS-linked separatist groups out of the city of Marawi. In that time, the battle displaced 360,000 people and left more than 1,000
That's within
people
the second
dead.
episode.
Yeah.
It also exposed just
The
how vulnerable
devastation
the
is so
Philippines has
insane.
become to extremism.
There's nothing left.
Now, the military is intensifying its fight against terrorists, and it's called
Training.
for reinforcements.
Yeah, exactly.
President Rodrigo Duterte is partnering with Malaysia and Indonesia.
Okay, so this is like a cooperative,
Yeah. Nearby countries.
yeah, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. I was just checking out the uniforms. Maybe I saw some different colors, but they can just be Navy, Army, and Air Force. But I don't see anything different on it.
Indonesia to launch air and sea patrols throughout the region.
Yeah. War in Paradise. Oof.
The new front in the fight against ISIS-linked terrorists
title.
is patrolling the same waterways that foreign fighters have exploited in the past.
Terrorists from different countries like Malaysia,
there's a guy.
Indonesia,
From the first episode.
were
From
reported
first episode, yeah.
to have passed in these waters. This is a vast
So
sea
same
lanes
setup, same
that
report, I think. Maybe.
is very difficult to patrol.
We first met Major Rowan Remus in Marawi
Okay.
during the height of the battle.
Sounds close.
He now oversees this multinational strategy at sea.
What happened in Marawi is an eye-opener for us. So we are learning from it and improving our
Patrolling
capabilities
the waters.
to prevent similar incidents and prevent terrorists to come in our region.
The government has been criticised for allowing Marawi to happen. So you see this as the government taking steps to be proactive in combating terrorism before it takes a hold?
Yes, what is happening right now is we are increasing our capabilities in combating terrorism. That is the marching order of our commander-in-chief to prevent incidents like what had happened in Marawi.
Even though the Philippines
Really interesting. I think I'm gonna do some more research on the background of it, because it's always hard to. The reporters will always have distinct questions to sometimes. I'm not saying this is, but sometimes fill in their own narratives.
Yeah.
I think in the Netherlands we had some great reporters when we are overseas that were trying to be on a normal ground, like
Neutral.
exactly.
Yeah.
Neutral perspective. So it is Vice. So are they portraying a narrative? I do not know, but it's always hard. So I will search into a bit of how the government actually went in it. Maybe we'll see that in the 153 days as well. So
Yeah.
might be just extra knowledge.
is putting a lot of resources into keeping terrorists out of its waters. The real fight is taking place on land.
And
This
big
remote
business.
island is
Yeah.
the stronghold of Abu Sayyaf. The brutal
So-
extremist group
I just missed it. But did you see it was so dense
Yeah.
that how can you ever
with ties to
see anything
ISIS.
from up that high? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
700.
Exactly.
Leading the fight here is General
You can see it straight away. There's I saw one of the documentaries that was really interesting, like the drugs in Brazil and stuff. And of course other documentaries of it.
Colombia.
But, Colombia as well. Yeah, that is like so.
Insane.
Intense, yeah.
It's so
Can't
hard.
see. I think that's what I meant as well. Yeah.
Cirilito Subihana, the commander of
We
Joint
don't
Task
have a lot of
Force
jungle,
Zulu.
so for us it's if you want to train, you go overseas.
Well, they are from here. Most of the members are from here. They are very much familiar and they have some amount of influence over the people here.
Yeah.
Subihana has fought Abu Sayyaf for 3 decades and has the battle scars to prove it.
I have a shattered forearm. They put a metal aim plate that long with 5 screws. So it was shattered.
more wounds.
No bones hold my hand anymore. I have bullet wounds on my arm, my head, on my stomach, and on my buttocks. So I have 5 gunshot wounds all in all.
Do you think that there's something inherent
warrior.
about this area that
That's a
means
warrior right
that
there.
this kind of terrorism is going to exist for a long time?
One is poverty. When the Abu Sayyaf started their kidnapping activity and they get ransom, they shared the ransom money to the community nearby. So in exchange of money,
So they will support the terrorists because they get money. It's like
Yeah.
bad Robin Hood.
Exactly, that's how it works. And as like you said, with poverty, that's like even an extremer factor as well. Yeah, it's not similar in the other situations where I've been. They just did it by means of force. So that's the other side of it. And
Yeah.
in this, they can choose what to do, if they do it by money and or do it by force. So both of them are really horrible.
Yeah.
But in this side, the people will go over
Yeah.
and pick the not money, but
Pick the bad
poverty,
side.
pick the bad side.
They have no other choice.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
the community provided support to them.
Since he took command last year, Subihana has scaled up Special Forces patrols and pounded militant strongholds with more than 2,000 rounds of artillery.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's really tough to, I keep on stopping, but it's really tough to, when you have 2,000 rounds, to keep it off of the people and not hit civilians and have
Yeah.
that kind of civilian casualties. If it's that kind of, especially when they said they are given information by the locals what their locations are and how they need to put themselves in a better strategic position.
Yeah.
That they don't hit the normal people as well. We have the same kind
But
of
the enemy
shirts
is so
when you go
entrenched in the
overseas.
community that the military has now turned to local civilian militias who are more familiar with the land.
Very smart.
Yes.
Why do you feel like you need civilians
Easy to get overhead.
train
Almost
here?
the same.
Actually, these people know the terrain, know the place, they know the enemy.
Yeah, very
They
smart.
report the presence of the terrorists in the area. They're used to fighting this menace in the province.
After 45 days of combat training
They
and
can see
target
when it's a
practice,
local or not
these
and stuff.
militiamen
Yeah.
get paid by the government to fight alongside the military on their home turf.
And these people are permanent residents here. Few soldiers to lead them, they can fight the terrorists here.
Is it a concern that, Abu Sayyaf does have a strong presence on this island and the weapons you're providing them, this knowledge and training you're providing with, could easily end up in the hands of Abu Sayyaf?
No, we don't worry about that because we don't employ them by themselves alone. We employ them with the regular forces.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
we ensure
exactly.
that they move, they
Combine
fight
them.
alongside
Yeah.
the regular forces, so we don't lose unnecessarily these firearms.
500 have graduated so far, and an additional 200 will be trained in the coming months. But for all the stepped-up military presence, the troops haven't been able to cut off Abu Sayyaf from its main revenue source, kidnapping for ransom.
This is where a lot of terrorist activities take place, and we're trying to find a family down here because we've heard that several members of this family have been kidnapped in the last few days.
So this is not paying
Frederick
them,
Trinidad
but
showed us how
kidnapping them.
11
That's the
armed
other
men
side.
surrounded his home and kidnapped his parents and 4 other family members just 3 days before.
Yung una nagluluto yung kapatid ko at saka
Crazy.
tatay ko. Yung nanay ko dito nakahiga. Yung una, pumasok yung mga taong yung tinutukan nila yung kuya ko. Sabi nila sa kuya ko, pasok.
Did the 6 of them who were taken try to escape? Did they try and run?
Kasi sila makatakas kasi tinutukan na sila ng baril.
Yeah,
To
of
try and
course.
raise the $3,000 demanded in ransom, the family sold this house. But if they still can't find the remaining cash, the kidnappers are threatening to execute the hostages.
How does it feel now that your
Horrible.
parents are gone,
Yeah.
being here alone?
Masakit sa akin kasi wala na yung mga nanay ko, tatay ko. Hindi ko na sila makikita kapag pinutulan na sila ng ulo.
Oh, what a story.
The more Abu Sayyaf is able to keep terrorizing local communities and make money off kidnapping, the more it will continue to pose a threat to the entire region. We sat down with a member of Abu Sayyaf, who allegedly smuggled explosives and ammunition for the group
really?
in the run-up to Marawi. He's now locked away in this overcrowded prison with more than 100 other suspected terrorists. Prison officers were present throughout this interview. The prisoner says he's speaking to us of his own free will.
Is what happened in Marawi helping Abu Sayyaf, or is it harming them?
And for their purposes, I think they succeed.
The government is saying that this is a victory for them.
Mujahideen has no losses. Even though they will lose in battle, even though they will die, they will still win. Why? Because they have rewarded by God.
So let me just get this straight. You believe that Abu Sayyaf members were
Yeah, that's
doing
their mindset.
Yeah.
Allah's work?
Yes, because all the deeds are written in the Holy Quran.
But there are hundreds of innocent Christians, innocent civilians who did nothing to these men, and they killed them.
In that case, if the war begins, you cannot avoid that.
Is this the end of extremism in the Philippines, or is this the beginning?
It is just a beginning.
So Marawi was a success.
Yes.
Wow. What a powerful last statements. And that's a heavy one to end it off with. One of the good things we saw, maybe end with one good thing as well, but getting local militia to help them in the dense forest, in the dense
know the way.
jungle, to actually know everything about that, because that's one of the things that when you're not a local that you get trapped by, because they're Vietnam style
Vietnam,
and stuff.
yeah.
That you can really see that it's
Serious losses.
yeah, really. So knowing the terrain is
It's key. It's
yeah,
key.
yeah, exactly. So that's a real good job of them to get them involved. The one of the harder ships was the story of the boy who just lost his parents a few days ago. So it was very fresh, and all
Yeah, $3,000. It doesn't sound like much, but
Yeah,
for,
for
them,
them-
living in poverty with those
Yeah,
houses,
I- yeah, and then
Where
it's
you
a
gonna get
life or death situation, and then it's horrible to think of.
without your parents
Yeah,
as a kid.
and then with the brother still left. One of the other memorable moments is just the ending of it, the mindset of the terrorists, and they can see losses in whatever they do because they have a higher purpose in their mind. So it's almost impossible to win from or discourage them to go on further. And I see that with other terrorists. We have combated ourselves as the Dutch army. The mindset and you can't change their will to they can change their will. I think that's almost it, because that's one of the things you want to discourage them to move on forward, but you can't, so you have to find other tactics to do so. And that was a really powerful statement by him, just saying in a short sentence what we all know, that it's almost an impossible war to begin with. And I think we'll just, before I let you do the word and me doing all the talking, but end off with a good note is the I don't remember his rank, but the warrior with the 8 or the 5 shotgun wounds, still willing to participate in the war against terrorism and the war against his own country, and still willing to fight for it. That's more power to him, and a real warrior. You see in him.
Still standing there doing his job.
Yeah, that's much respect.
Dedication. I totally agree with recruiting the locals. It's very smart. You really have to know the terrain. You will lose. The view from the helicopter, you can't see anything. That's it. You will lose. You will lose without the intel. And the statements at the end. They hit hard. Yeah,
very powerful.
But I also read in the comments, somebody replied that they were thinking that the terrorists would attack again.
We're pretty much out of the loop, of course. I tried to put some more info in it, and I will. However, I think one of the things we're going to do is see the longer informational documentaries to get more of it, but we just want to end it kind of with this series of the Vice documentaries.
It's very interesting.
And from our perspective, it's also from theirs, and I can see a lot of similarities though, but that's the army thing, I think. So very interesting. Let me know if you have any others you want us to see. There are still some I want to see as well. I'll just put it on the list. I think this will be a bi-weekly thing, and maybe we'll try to put in some more videos, but we'll see how we get there. Thanks so much for the recommendations and comments. I do read them. I will reply to
Use
them.
words.
I will to reply to them as soon as I can, and there are a lot of them, so I'll do I'll do that for sure. So until the next episode, I think so. This is